Charlie mentioned in his presentation that it was very convenient for his kids to go through the shortcut when it was cold and snowy. Wasn't that all the time? As I recall. It's a real privilege for me to be able to take part in the service. The King family has had a very huge influence on my life, and it's a privilege for me to be here. So Lauretta King, life sketch. Lauretta Johnson was born April 15, 1920, on a homestead about 23 miles north of Webo, Montana. Anybody been to Webo, Montana? Yeah, all right. Looks like I missed out. Her parents were Hazel Page Johnson and J. Forrest Johnson. Times were hard on eastern Montana homesteads. When Lauretta was still a toddler, her parents gave up the homestead and moved to the Shields River Valley, north of Livingston, Montana, and later to Livingston, where she grew up. At the age of 14, she left home to attend Mount Hills Academy near Bozeman, Montana, graduating from high school there as the vice president of the class of 1938. Loretta's a gay little blonde of whom we're all very fond. A good sport is she, in spirit she's free. We'll miss her next year when she's gone. The 1938 Ellisonian senior picture of Lauretta Johnson. Caption. Where were you can you remember where you were on December the 7th, 1941, Pearl Harbor Day, if you were alive then? If you were to ask Lauretta, she would have said that she was in the mountains cutting a Christmas tree with her suitor, Frank King. And soon after that, Frank entered the Army, where he spent the next almost 4 years in service for his country, fighting in Guadalcanal, Bougainville, and the Philippines. After graduation, Lauretta attended Walla Walla College for 2 or 3 years. She interrupted her studies to accept a request from the Montana Conference to come to work on a temporary basis where she would then be resuming college. The temporary job lasted nearly 40 years. Some lifelong friends were people who she worked with and made friends at the office, including Marge Carpenter Nelson, John and Ruby Griffin, Warren and Becky Dick. And I would just like to add to this that the time that I was there, it seems like she was kind of the person that actually ran the conference, as I recall. And she spent a lot of years, 40 years, tutoring presidents and treasurers. So the conference has a lot to be thankful for. Loretta's association with Mount Hills Academy lasted even longer. From entering the academy in the fall of 1934 until moving to College Place in 2011, she spent her life with some involvement in the academy. And I would just like to interject a personal thing here that probably one of the very biggest highlights of Loretta's experience at the academy happened in June of 1962 when a scrawny 9th grader came to the academy from Susanville, California by the name of Dave Gordon and ended her life at that time. It's something I've never forgotten. In the 50s and 60s, she occasionally taught typing and shorthand classes, and she worked in the business office. However, her presence and involvement extended far beyond those roles. She knew students who were great-grandchildren of students she knew in the early years. Hundreds of former students knew her and remembered her cheerful and youthful spirit and her kindness. Mount Olive staff members were her community, and she served as mentor and confidant for many. Lowell and Arladale Nelson, Russ and Jackie Parker, Clyde and Winnie Smith, the Tafts, the Bergers, the Robinsons, the Russells, the Crandalls, and the Lewis family are just a few of the great friends. During her 30 years of retirement in Bozeman, Lauretta hosted many family reunions, and many grandchildren spent summers eating at her kitchen table. She had the opportunity to travel visiting her children in Norway, Guam, Australia, and New Zealand. In 2010, Lauretta and Frank moved to Walla Walla to be near her children and grandchildren. Loretta remained an active person throughout her long life. In her 70s and 80s, she provided Meals on Wheels to seniors and disabled younger than herself. She loved to ice skate and was proficient. Once she was persuaded to try snow skiing, didn't like it. Maybe that's why we got along so well. And pronounced it was the last time. She was a skilled ping pong player and surprised her kids and grandchildren with her victories. Okay, we're almost done. Lauretta is survived by Frank King, her husband of 68 years, by her 4 sons and their wives, April and Ray King of Bend, Oregon, Alan King of Indonesia, Art and Rhonda King of College Place, Washington, and Larry and Debbie King of Bozeman, Montana. Also, by 19 grandchildren, 13 great-grandchildren. Loretta's very wide circle of dear friends testifies to her long